Good morning and welcome to a very interesting start to our day 4 of the PowHERcircle Challenge. Thank you for bearing with me while I got settled here, just in the middle of a commute to some meetings this morning. I want to welcome my co-host today. Thank you very much for jumping in. I will introduce you and say a few words about Sharon Marshall. And for those of you who don't know her, I'm going to turn it over to Sharon just to round it out a little bit, as I've been doing every day this week. Super interested to talk with you this morning about the topic or theme of interconnectedness and what that looks and feels like to you in this day and age, where you're at in life right now as a leader. So when I think of Sharon Marshall, the first things, this is not her formal bio. Sharon is one of my Indigenous sisters. So it's really meaningful to do work with her, to get to work with her, to walk with her along her leader path for sure. We're working with each other in a couple of different projects. One is the DIVA project, and I'll let her tell you a bit more about that. Sharon has years of experience in administration. She's a systems professional and has a lot of experience working within a governance setting, so within bands and municipalities. And so for lots of different reasons, it's very interesting that Sharon is pinch hitting for me today, because Dr. Shannon Waters found herself triple booked this morning. Sharon, is there anything like top of mind that you want to say to add to that? No. I can't hear you, Sharon.
Sorry, I muted myself, sorry.
There you go. Okay, good.
Thanks for that introduction. Yes, I have years of experience in administration and virtual support. And, so being an Indigenous woman and having administrative experience and the work that I do, it all seems to be interrelated, interconnected. I think of the World Wide Web and the internet, and that is what I work with. And so that has a huge correlation to this topic that we are discussing today, as well as being an Indigenous woman. Indigenous people have a connection to everything. We believe, the phrase "all my relations" refers to a connection to everything around us, not just the people, but the land, the animals, the air that we breathe. And so that really is more of who I am and what I believe in.
Cool. Thank you very much. I know I like hearing how, the different women are introducing themselves. I think sometimes we can in the past get so tied to introducing ourselves by a current role. And as you guys know, your role is just the current expression or the current vehicle of the bigger who you are as a leader. So I do appreciate these different introductions. I'm going to start out with a quote that is actually from Dr. Shannon Waters. And it really got me thinking. And then after that, I'll kind of head into our first conversation question. So here's the quote. It was in your email this morning, I believe, or it's in your it's in your website post. We have been focusing on issues. Issues are symptoms of disconnection, which is only working at the surface of the challenge and delaying interconnected health and wholeness that we all crave, that we all need. Our health is something we must consider collectively. So what I find interesting about that is, if you take a look at the projects and the initiatives and everything that you're leading right now, are you and your team, are you and those you work with as leaders, are you dealing with symptoms? Are you trying to rectify symptoms, which are really scratching the surface of the challenge and actually delaying interconnectedness? Or are you working at the connectedness, which when that improves, will then improve the symptoms, and therefore the issues will actually take care of themselves. It's like health and wellness, and dealing with a sickness by a Band-Aid or a drug. So anyway, that's sort of the context at which I'm looking at this topic of interconnectedness. Sharon, I'm curious what a higher level of interconnection might look and feel like to you in your life right now. Yeah, and also just depending on our time, we might open that up to the chat, to the chat box. I'll ask you, of course, for some help viewing those chats. But just curious, what does that higher level of interconnection and interconnectivity look like for you right now? I'm just going to mute myself for a bit.
Okay. When I was thinking about this topic, one thing that came to mind was something I learned by Deepak Chopra in the late 90s. And he talked about a hologram, and that we are all holograms. And so everybody knows what a hologram is, right? So he says, if you shatter a hologram, it breaks into hundreds of pieces. And if you pick up one of those pieces, the whole image of that hologram is contained within that one piece. And that was really profound for me. And so I've thought about that ever since, and that for me means that if that's the case, then we definitely have to step up and step out of our comfort zones. We have to be courageous and be vulnerable, and find kinship with our as a leader, provide mentorship and find kinship with the people that we work with, because it's all contained. We're all contained within that one piece. And so, I don't know if I'm making sense. Does anybody have anything to add to that?
I'll jump in for just a minute, and again, I'm going to ask our colleagues who are on the call to feel free to add some comments and whatnot in the chat box. I love what you said about the hologram, and I'm going to riff on that for just a second, because that's very much how I see it. When people say to me, like, oh, that's great, like you support women, like you support women leaders, and that doesn't ever land right for me, because of that very thing you said. If the hologram breaks and you pick up a piece, we're all in that one piece. So I know that in order for me to be stronger, you have to be stronger.
Yeah.
It's not and I don't do a good job of, I never think about it as working, working for someone or my clients. And it's always actually made my teeth grind, because it's very much been about like that web, that tribe of, it's like a baseball team or a football team. Like, you're only as strong as your weakest player. So you better make sure everybody's good enough to be on the starting line, and yeah, it's interesting. I was chatting with a woman at the accelerator, and I kind of stole from one of the keynote speakers' talks, but she was sitting by herself. So I went to sit with her, and she said, why did you come over here and sit with me today? And I just looked at her, and I kind of laughed, and I said, no man left behind. And she just started laughing. But like, that's the truth.
Yeah.
It's definitely the collective we. And I wonder when, we're going to start to fully step into that. My business is only as strong as your business. My leadership goals are only as strong as yours. So yeah. Anyone have any comments? Chat box is open. And I'm going to ask Sharon, if anyone comments, I'm not sure I can read them quickly on my phone. I'm going to jump into Dana. Great relationships make for
Good partnerships, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so, just to add a little bit to that, we, and as women, like many of us are mothers, and so then we have this nurturing instinct about us. And even if we aren't, I believe that women have this nurturing instinct about us, which makes us more compassionate. And like the Dalai Lama says, women, he believes we are the nurturers and the caregivers. And I think it was him that also said that it's a Western woman that's going to save the world. But it's by that collective pulling in and raising each other up that I know that I feel better when I'm helping somebody else. I know that I feel it's a sense of satisfaction for me when I'm mentoring somebody and when I'm uplifting somebody. That to me is uplifting as well. Can you imagine what the world would be like if we all even just one day? I think they do experiments like that where they have collective consciousness experiments, and yeah, it's
yeah, pretty powerful. How would you say, are you doing anything right now? Like, as we kind of, we look at fall 2019 and starting to head into 2020, are you making any intentional like moves or decisions where you would say that you're consciously cultivating greater interconnectedness in your life?
Oh, I would say so, absolutely. My goal for 2020 is to just step out of my comfort zone more and to can you ask that question again, please?
I'm curious what you might be doing right now to heighten the experience, like consciously cultivate more interconnectedness in your life.
Well, stepping out of my comfort zone for sure, but consciously cultivating.
I think one of the things that you are doing is working on the Diva project. Like, I think when you throw yourself into a tangible project that brings more connectivity and interconnection into the world, that brings that experience, heightens that experience for you.
Absolutely. The Diva project, this pilot has been very successful so far, and it's I've had this in my brain for a few years, and I launched it last year with not much success. I needed funding for it, and so but not giving up on the idea and just working with the One Diva on my own. I was able to get started with her and just kept on trying to figure out a way to get this thing started. And it's becoming successful. So I'm launching, so this is the pilot. So then in the new year, I'm actually creating the real product for sale. And so I will be working with individuals. And so I have to put myself out there, and I have to believe in what I'm doing, and I absolutely do. I have a strong passion for what I'm doing, and that is helping others to get connected. And the connection that we have to each other is likened to the spider's web, in that we are all connected in some way, shape, or form. I mean, it used to be 6 degrees of separation. It's not that anymore. We know that. I can't believe how many people I meet that on a daily basis, well, not daily, but say weekly, that somehow there's a connection there to me, to what I'm doing, or my thought process, or something that I'm working on. And so, it's really important, in my opinion, to have a bigger picture in mind. And so there's that World Wide Web. Be focusing on your goals on a daily and weekly and monthly basis, but also with that bigger vision in mind. I know I'm going on a tangent, but
I think one of the ways that I'm cultivating more, consciously trying to cultivate more interconnectedness in my life and in my leadership is, again, it's that pulling through that theme of trust. But I would say that the way that Powerhouse is marketing ourselves, how we do our marketing, has totally changed. I really trust that the relationships and the connections and the opportunities that we're meant to step into will find us. And so when, as I do work with women, I think our role is, get really, really specific on what and who it is you're looking for, to take that next step. And as the more and more specific we get, honestly, the opportunities, when I track back the opportunities, they're really specifically from the introductions and the connections that I've received. They're not from marketing that we've done. And so I even think, as women in business and looking for leadership opportunities, I'd encourage all of us to play with, our role is specificity. Our role is clearly communicating what we want. And then the creator's role, or the universe's role, or whoever the heck you believe in, their role is to bring those opportunities to you. It's that dance between, being ready and being clear about what you're ready for. And I'm super grateful for all the referrals and introductions and alliances that we've built over the past couple of years. So
you talk about marketing differently. I mean, the accelerator was a good example of that. I mean, that accelerator was brilliant. And talk about trust and building relationships. That was the perfect way to do that.
Yeah.
You had trust in the process, and I don't know how, I haven't heard one bad thing from that event. People made connections. We connected with each other, just as women in a group, trying to learn from each other, and then it went from there. And it's there's that web again.
Yeah.
I just
So
to think about the
so awesome.
Good shivers.
So I just, I'm gonna wrap up our conversation for today, and pop into the Facebook group just quickly before 8 o'clock. But just a brief review. I'm curious, for those on the call, those who watch the recording, what does interconnectedness really look and feel like to you? How do you want to experience that in your life, in your business, in your work right now? And what are you doing to intentionally cultivate that interconnectedness? And Sharon, if you can find anything on that hologram, if you can find a little, that would be a great thing to add to the bottom of this video as soon as I get it posted. And I just wanted to thank you and those who were able to join us live this morning. Thank you very much for being here. on a bit of a bumpy Wednesday morning. And you should have your email and your in basket and your journal to work through the reflection for today.
I just wanted to add, Dana has said, Tony Robbins says, what is the best way to have your team work to their highest level? Ensure they love you.
Exactly. And let that ripple out, hey? Yeah, great. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. And yeah, we'll see you again tomorrow for our next theme. And tomorrow is all about resistance and resilience. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Bye.